The animal and plant life of the African continent is rightfully considered the most diverse on Earth. Moist tropical forests, as they move away from the equator, give way to the emerald expanses of boundless savannas, semi-deserts, and sand dunes. The farther south you go, the more Africa adorns itself with evergreen coniferous forests, and its coasts are covered with dense thickets of shrubs. In each of these paradisiacal corners of the continent, rare animals and astonishing birds find refuge. Africa's avian kingdom is incredibly diverse, boasting majestic ostriches, dignified secretary birds, elegant pink flamingos, an array of guineafowl, bustards, parrots, and tiny birds that fill the air with their vibrant plumage and enchanting songs, creating an atmosphere of unparalleled uniqueness that takes your breath away. It is these birds that welcome the first rays of the African morning with their chirping and bid farewell to the sun as it sets. In Africa, it's nearly impossible to even enumerate all the incredible bird species. Doing so is practically an impossible task. Therefore, we will only attempt to introduce you to some of the bird species that captivate the eye with their singing, plumage, wings, flight, and the boundless spatial freedom that is unique to birds. Africa is home to over 2,500 species of birds. Such an enormous number of birds is attributed to the climatic conditions of the African continent, an extremely favorable environment for nesting, and an ample supply of food. In the wild, these factors are more than sufficient for birds to feel comfortable, thrive safely, and reproduce. On the open plains of the South African savannas, amidst the low grasses, one can easily spot a rather large bird with a black tuft on its head. This is the African great bustard. Dense forests and shrublands are not for it, as it prefers to leisurely stride across the plains, constantly surveying her surroundings. The bustard curiously extends its neck, keenly observes its surroundings, and, oblivious to potential threats, continues its simple avian activities. Female bustards weigh around 24–42 pounds, with a wingspan of up to 8.2 feet. Males, on the other hand, are slightly larger and broader in the wing. Bustards have long legs, which greatly aid them in navigating through tall grass and avoiding entanglement in the thick stems of vegetation. The plumage on their heads, necks, and bellies is grayish-white, while their wings and backs are tinted in a brownish-black hue. Bustards lead predominantly sedentary lives, preferring to travel across the plains and take to the air only when absolutely necessary. Bustards are known for their silence, but in the face of danger, they emit a loud, throaty sound. They are most active in the morning and evening, seeking shelter from the scorching sun during the day. They primarily live alone or form small flocks of 5–7 individuals, although under favorable conditions and near a reliable food source, a group of bustards can number up to 40. Bustards will eat anything they find, but their favorite delicacy is insects such as grasshoppers, crickets, beetles, termites, crickets, scorpions, and their larvae. Encountering mollusks, small lizards, or snakes is considered a delicacy as well. A more modest meal may consist of seeds, berries, onion roots, flowers, and leaves. Bustards skillfully snatch their prey with their beaks while slowly and steadily searching for it. Predators of bustards include leopards, caracals, cheetahs, lions, pythons, hyenas, jackals, and eagles. Male bustards are polygamous and are quite aggressive in defending their territory from others. They use their sturdy beaks as weapons, and they can put up quite a fight with their wings, rivaling the aggression of roosters. The breeding period for bustards depends on the rainy season and the nesting location. Mating is quick, but the courtship display by the male is a spectacle to behold. This includes fluffing feathers, wing embraces, and a dance performance, a true demonstration of affection and good intentions that is hard for the female to resist. Typically, a clutch consists of 2 eggs, and the nest is small, constructed on the ground, and lined with dry vegetation. The female diligently incubates the clutch, rarely leaving the nest for nearly 30 days. Hatched chicks grow rapidly, even though their plumage doesn't appear until around 4 or 5 weeks, and they become fully fledged at approximately 3-4 months. Bustards can be found in many African countries, including Namibia, Angola, Zambia, Mozambique, Tanzania, Sudan, South Africa, Somalia, Ethiopia, Kenya, and Uganda. It's quite symbolic that since 2014, the bustard has officially become the national symbol of Botswana. Among the hawk-like predatory birds of Africa, one stands out, and it has an equally unique name, the secretary bird. This peculiar name comes from the distinctive black feathers on its head, which resemble quills that diligent and responsible British clerks used to tuck into their wigs. The secretary bird measures between 3 feet 7 inches to 4 feet 11 inches in length, making it a distinguished species, fitting for a true secretary. It weighs nearly 8 pounds, with a wingspan of up to 6 feet. As noted, its most noticeable feature is the black feathers on its head, which comically stand erect during mating. Additionally, during this crucial time, secretary birds emit piercing sounds reminiscent of crowing or the cawing of a crow. The plumage on the bird's neck and belly is gray, while it darkens towards the tail. Around the eyes and extending to the beak, there is no plumage, only exposed orange skin. In contrast to other aerial hunting raptors, secretary birds spend most of their time on the ground, where they can move quite swiftly. They can be called free travelers because they are constantly on the move in search of food. Remarkably, males remain faithful to their chosen mate throughout their lives, often foraging together and only separating within each other's line of sight. The habitat range of secretary birds covers Africa, stretching from the southern Sahara to the far southern tip of the continent. These unique birds are only found in open continental savannas or similar flat terrains. The primary food source in the secretary bird's diet is snakes, but they can also feed on amphibians, lizards, insects, small mammals, and small birds. When hunting, secretary birds sprint swiftly on the ground, using loud wing flaps to flush out potential prey hidden by fear. They chase their quarry with zigzagging movements, causing snakes, in particular, to lose their sense of direction. A powerful strike with their beak leaves prey with no chance of escape. If a snake attempts to defend itself with a venomous attack, the secretary bird skillfully dodges the dangerous bites and doesn't give up on the hunt. This is why they are often called skilled snake hunters. Interestingly, during such battles with snakes, the secretary bird spreads one wing, using it as a protective shield. During the breeding season, which coincides with the rainy season, the male attempts to impress his chosen mate with a slow, undulating flight. Following these flamboyant displays, he lands and gently flaps his wings in front of his chosen mate, demonstrating a unique courtship dance. Females typically lay 1 to 3 pale blue eggs, which they incubate for about 45 days. Nests are constructed atop bushes or trees with a flat canopy at heights not exceeding 19 feet. The nest's diameter is approximately 59 inches, and it is built using small twigs and grass. Chicks spend 75 to 85 days in the nest. Initially, parents feed them semi-digested meat, later switching to small pieces of raw meat. Occasionally, the young birds make daring leaps from the nest, testing their flying abilities. If they are unable to lift off and return to the nest, the parents feed them on the ground until they learn to fly properly. On the African continent, the secretary bird is highly respected and considered noble, and its image graces the coat of arms of South Africa and Sudan. The outstretched wings of the secretary bird symbolize the supreme superiority of these nations over their adversaries, presumably serving as an unswerving protector for the people of these countries. On the African continent, there is another bird with a peculiar name, MacQueen's Bustard. Its Latin name derives from a word in ancient Greek that referred to a rider's cape or cloak, with pockets sewn into its corners to hold weights. The word otis in Latin translates to bustard. Interestingly, the specific name of this bird can be attributed to the English officer Thomas MacQueen, who personally donated a specimen of the bustard to the British Museum. This specimen served as the basis for the species description and its placement in the natural taxonomy. The second part of its species name, Vixley, is derived from its ability to abruptly change the direction of flight. Another interesting origin for this species name comes from the bird's behavior during the mating season when it runs in a zigzag pattern. Strangely enough, there is a third species name, Beauty Bustard, which accurately characterizes these birds' penchant for elaborate courtship displays. In terms of size, MacQueen's Bustard is larger than a Korhaan but smaller than a Great Bustard. The length of a male's body ranges from 25 to 29 inches, with a weight of about 7 pounds. Females are usually slightly smaller. The plumage on the upper part of the bird's body is sandy in color, while the lower part is white. MacQueen's Bustard, also known as the Vixley or Beauty Bustard, has distinctive elongated feathers with black tips on the sides of its body and a gray crest on its head. The habitat range of the MacQueen's Bustard is quite extensive, and unlike some sedentary African species, they are considered migratory birds. In terms of dietary preferences, MacQueen's Bustards are not very selective eaters. They consume fruits, seeds, shoots, leaves, and flowers. Their diet may also include grasshoppers, crickets, beetles, and small reptiles. In recent times, hunting MacQueen's Bustards with trained falcons has gained popularity among sheiks in the United Arab Emirates. African magnates also partake in this activity. Such hunting seemingly emphasizes the high social status of affluent hunters. Without passing judgment on this pastime, it is worth expressing gratitude to those who, at their own expense, contribute to the preservation of the MacQueen's Bustard population. They organize breeding programs for these beautiful birds, releasing them into the wild, thereby granting them life and freedom in the natural world. The northern black Korhaan, also known as the white-quilled small bustard, is another bird species found in southern Africa. Open grasslands and low shrubbery are their preferred habitats. White-quilled small bustards feel quite at home in grassy pastures with vegetation up to 1 meter tall, as well as in grassy dunes, low shrubs, and open veldt. Interestingly, The northern black Korhaan was first described in 1831 by Scottish physician and surgeon Andrew Smith, who was also an ornithologist by avocation. So, what is this white-quilled small bustard like? It is a relatively small species, typically measuring between 19 and 24 inches in length. The bird's plumage features evenly distributed black and white spots on the back, wings, head, neck, and belly. Both males and females have a transverse black stripe on the head, neck, chest, and upper body. Their primary feathers are predominantly white, distinguishing this species from the southern black Korhaan, which has entirely black primary feathers. Adult females have a small gray crown of feathers on their heads, and their lower eyelids appear to be lined with a broad brown stripe, creating a sort of avian makeup. Additionally, they sport a unique ornament, a black spot on the throat. Adult males also possess a crown, but it is black, and they have similar black lines on white cheeks. Furthermore, both males and females have red bills and bright yellow legs. The northern black Korhaan is found in Namibia, Botswana, Lesotho, and the northern regions of South Africa. Family group territories are quite extensive, covering approximately 40 hectares. Northern black Korhaans are primarily terrestrial birds, but they occasionally take flight when disturbed or frightened, emitting loud and hoarse alarm calls. Interestingly, they often choose to run rather than fly, amusingly extending their necks and heads as they flee. White-quilled small bustards are monogamous, and it's a delight to watch pairs or family groups feed together, occasionally chasing insects. Termites, ants, grasshoppers, ticks, beetles, and spiders form the basis of their diet. In the African savannas south of the equator, the largest among the hornbill family resides the southern ground hornbill. This is truly a large bird, measuring anywhere from 35 to 50 inches in length and weighing up to 14 pounds. The southern ground hornbill stands out with its black plumage and vivid red patches of skin on its head and neck. In young birds, these non-feathered spots are colored yellow. The massive black bill of the southern ground hornbill, adorned with a prominent helmet, particularly in males, sets them apart in the avian world. These hornbills are the only true predators among their bird family. Their diet primarily consists of arthropods, including beetles, grasshoppers, scorpions, and termites. During dry seasons, they consume a substantial number of insect, larvae, mollusks, frogs, lizards, and snakes, including venomous ones, tortoises, and small rodents. When the urge to showcase their hunting prowess strikes, they chase after squirrels, hares, and mongooses. Ground hornbills spend a lot of time on the ground, patiently scouring the savanna for prey. These birds are capable of devouring any small animal they can catch. Snatching their quarry swiftly from the ground, they toss it into the air to facilitate swallowing, often using their robust bill to strike it. They hunt in groups of 2 to 8 individuals and frequently demonstrate coordinated hunting skills when pursuing larger prey. Southern ground hornbills are the only hornbill species that can carry multiple food items in their bills without swallowing them, transporting them back to their nests. On occasion, these hornbills even consume carrion, indulging in it alongside other scavengers. Ground hornbills lead a sedentary lifestyle in small groups of up to 11 individuals, composed of a dominant adult pair and their offspring, which stay with their parents indefinitely. Young hornbills assist their parents in raising newly hatched chicks and dutifully guard the territory in the absence of the elders. Each group of southern ground hornbills claims a territory that varies in size from 1 to 38.6 square miles. Remarkably, these birds diligently patrol their borders. Their extremely loud calls strike fear into any intruders approaching the territorial boundaries. The social organization of these birds is nothing short of astonishing. Southern ground hornbills are highly inventive and crafty individuals. Moreover, they are adept manipulators, adept at drawing attention to themselves. For instance, by cautiously holding an egg from another nest in their enormous bills, the dominant pair can ruthlessly blackmail other group members, ensuring their compliance. Notably, the authoritarian breeding pair keeps only immature chicks and males with them. As soon as females become ready to reproduce, they are expelled from the group. Furthermore, an old and feeble male faces the same fate. He is ruthlessly displaced by the dominant son and, without shame, assumes the vacated position in the hierarchy of the group. It's hard not to notice a large bird soaring high above the cloudless African sky, effortlessly gliding through the air as if weightless. This majestic creature is the Tawny Eagle. It rightfully earns its title as the Lord of the Skies because the magnificence and grace of its flight deserve the highest praise. The wingspan of the Tawny Eagle measures about 6.5 feet, with a body length of around 29.5 inches. Interestingly, despite its imposing appearance, this eagle is not particularly heavy, weighing in at only 2 kilograms. Perhaps due to its relatively light weight, it can effortlessly soar in the air and dive like a stone to seize its prey at any moment. Sharp talons and beaks make for the eagle's extraordinarily powerful weaponry. In a matter of seconds, the eagle can pierce its prey with its 2 inches long talons and tear it to shreds with its beak. The well-known eagle eye allows it to spot potential prey from great heights. The eagle's vision far surpasses that of humans. It's optically sensitive enough to survey an area of 5 square miles in fine detail. The eagle's field of vision spans 275 degrees, enabling it not only to monitor what's happening around it, but also to detect approaching threats from behind. The dominant coloration of the Tawny Eagle's plumage is earthy brown, with the upper part of the body being darker than the lower part. The tail exhibits shades of reddish-brown, and in young individuals, there are noticeable crosswise dark stripes that disappear with age. The eagle's legs are covered with dense reddish or yellowish plumage. In the wild, tawny eagles have a lifespan of approximately 30 years. They favor savannas and grasslands because these open spaces provide them with a panoramic view, making it easy to spot prey. Conversely, densely wooded and desert regions of the African continent are almost unsuitable for these birds. The tawny eagle's diet includes mammals, birds, reptiles, insects, amphibians, fish, and carrion, with prey typically weighing no more than 4 pounds. While most of their food is obtained on land, they sometimes catch birds as large as flamingos during flight. Fishing is accomplished with partial submersion in water. These eagles aren't particularly shy and often steal or forcibly take prey from their peers, let alone from other birds. Pairs among tawny eagles are strictly monogamous. They construct nests from twigs, and sometimes even animal bones serve as building materials. The female incubates 1 to 2 eggs, and the male frequently takes her place to allow her to rest and stretch her wings. Tawny Eagle chicks don't resemble their majestic parents. They are fluffy and lack the remarkable beauty of the adults. However, over time, if nature is kind, they will grow feathers, mature, and take to the skies with outspread wings, just as their parents did. In the savanna plains of Africa, especially in marshy areas or wet meadows, you can hear a sound resembling the rhythmic pounding of a hammer. Of course, there's no blacksmith or a sunburned smithy worker around. It's the call of a bird known as the Blacksmith Lapwing. Freshwater swamps from Kenya to South Africa serve as a true oasis for these birds. In terms of size, the Blacksmith Lapwing is relatively small, measuring only 11–12 inches in length. Females are usually larger and heavier, but overall, males and females are quite similar. The bird's plumage is adorned with striking patterns, which are particularly impressive when the bird is in flight. This bold combination of black, gray, and white colors likely also serves as a warning to predators. The contrast between the gray wing surface and the black and white markings on the lower feathers emphasizes the classic natural colors of black and white. The Blacksmith Lapwing's distinctive appearance is further accentuated by its red eyes. Moreover, the spur on its wings in the form of a sharp projection is not just an extra decoration. It's a tool used by the lapwing to defend its chicks. When threatened, the lapwing strikes intruders relentlessly on the head with its wings, which can be quite painful. Blacksmith lapwings are very unpretentious birds. They feed on insects, larvae, small amphibians, and lizards. Small fish can also be a welcome addition to their diet. As for nest construction, these birds are not particularly fussy. They are content with a shallow depression in the ground, which could be as simple as a hoof print. The hatched chicks are tiny and helpless, but their caring mother looks after them diligently, feeding and protecting them until the blue sky beckons them to take their first independent flight. The crowned sandgrouse may initially seem like an inconspicuous bird found in the rocky deserts and semi-deserts of North Africa. In reality, it's not that small. Rather, it's of medium size, with a length ranging from 10–12 inches and weighing around 10.5 ounces. If you're exploring the grasslands and open woodlands of sub-Saharan Africa, you might come across the helmeted guineafowl. These birds are known for their distinctive appearance, with bare, featherless heads adorned with helmet-like casques. Their plumage is speckled with white spots on a dark background, giving them a somewhat polka-dotted appearance. Helmeted guineafowl are of medium size, with a length of about 20–23 inches and a weight of 2.22–2.8 pounds. These guineafowl are social birds, often seen in flocks, and they are known for their loud, raucous calls that can be heard from a distance. They are terrestrial birds that forage on the ground, primarily feeding on seeds, fruits, insects, and small invertebrates. Their strong legs and sharp claws make them efficient scratchers, allowing them to uncover food hidden in the soil. Helmeted guineafowl are monogamous during the breeding season, and they build nests on the ground, typically in concealed spots. The female lays a clutch of eggs, which she incubates, while the male helps protect the nest. Once the chicks hatch, they are precocial, meaning they are born relatively mature and can follow their parents shortly after hatching. These birds are not only interesting for their appearance, but also for their ecological role in controlling insect populations and spreading the seeds of various plants as they forage. They are a common sight in many parts of Africa and have adapted well to both natural and human-altered landscape. The spotted sandgrouse, a small bird, inhabits the southern part of the African continent, primarily in arid regions. Its scientific Latin name, Pteropus burchelli, was given in honor of the British naturalist William Burchell, who studied these birds in the past. This species is found in Angola, Botswana, Namibia, South Africa, Zambia, and Zimbabwe. Their plumage is light brown with dark stripes and white spots, giving them a distinct appearance. Male sandgrouse have yellow skin around their eyes, with pale gray cheeks and throats. The length of the male's body can reach up to 9.8 inches, while females are usually slightly smaller. Spotted sandgrouse prefers open areas with rocky terrain, semi-arid regions on the edges of deserts, and treeless plains. Outside the breeding season, they gather in numerous flocks. They primarily feed on seeds, occasionally consuming grass, leaves, buds, and flowers. The appearance of the Egyptian heron in Africa can be traced back to 1933, when a mere 18 birds were released in the vicinity of Kimberley, a city in South Africa. These snowy white birds were transported to mainland Africa from Calcutta, India. The terrain suited the herons, situated near the confluence of two rivers. The Egyptian heron boasts a predominantly white plumage, with reddish-brown hues on the upper parts of its head, back, and chest. These areas are adorned with elongated, feathery plumes that shed each year by autumn. During the breeding season, adult herons develop orange spots on the upper part of their head and back while retaining distinctively white plumage elsewhere. The bill, legs, and irises of the eyes of the Egyptian heron are all a striking shade of red. These birds weigh up to 12 ounces and have a body length ranging from 19 to 21 inches. In flight, their wingspan extends to about 1 meter. Egyptian herons feel right at home around water bodies in steppe regions and river meanders. In recent times, there has been a positive trend in expanding their habitat across the African continent. It's heartening to note that the Egyptian heron population in Africa is on the rise due to the development of livestock farming and land cultivation. These birds are distributed from Senegal to the eastern coasts of the continent and southwards. Like all herons, this species also prefers marshy and wetland areas, but adapts reasonably well to drier landscapes. This adaptability stems from the Egyptian heron's lesser dependence on water compared to other heron species, allowing it to be encountered relatively far from water bodies. Grazing pastures with domesticated livestock doesn't deter these herons. You can often spot them riding on the backs of cows or buffaloes. Beyond agricultural lands, they fearlessly follow the hooves of wild animals like rhinos and elephants. However, it would be inaccurate to characterize the Egyptian heron as overly carefree and indifferent to external threats. They are cautious and somewhat skittish. When taking flight from the backs of wild or domesticated animals in the face of danger, they inadvertently signal a warning to these animals. Mutual assistance is evident. Egyptian herons primarily feed on larger insects, particularly grasshoppers, which are stirred up by the grazing livestock. They also hunt aquatic creatures in smaller quantities. This can include small fish and amphibians. Sexual maturity in these birds begins at the age of 2. Egyptian herons typically nest among riverside thickets entwined with vines. Their colonies, ranging from a few pairs to several hundred, are often located close to other herons, cormorants, ibises, and other birds that require proximity to water for nesting. During the breeding season, male Egyptian herons are known for their noisy and aggressive behavior as they vie for the attention of females, driving away rival suitors. To attract a mate, the male stretches his neck and emits loud, bill-clattering calls. If this doesn't impress the female, he resorts to dancing, with his head and legs engaging in intricate choreography. Once a pair forms, they spend 5 days building a nest, although it must be noted that their nest-building skills are quite lacking, and the nest ends up looking more like a sieve. Clutches typically consist of 1 to 6 eggs. The chicks hatch helpless but remarkably loud, restless, and even aggressive. Parents patiently endure all the whims of their offspring, which is why Egyptian herons can rightfully be called attentive parents. They fiercely defend their chicks and tirelessly provide them with nourishment around the clock. Perhaps it's this level of parental dedication that keeps chick mortality relatively low. Within a month or two, the young herons come of age, and independence becomes as customary to them as the vast and intricate expanse of their avian world. Let us also wish the fledglings light wings, just like everyone who has grown and left the nest, soaring towards a new day. They carry with them the message in their chirping that the wondrous and unique world of nature that surrounds us is truly magnificent.